Hello and welcome back. My name is Dave and this is Fuzzee Tutorials. So what I've got for you today is a little while ago I created a really neat tool for DaVinci Resolve, and what this one does is it gives you a really nice title made out of 3D text on a background. It slides in and expands, and it's got a really nice shifting lighting effect, and it's completely expandable, so you can adjust it to any size you need. And I'm going to show you how to use it, and there will be a follow-up video where I show you how to build one for yourself. All right, let's get started. All right, thanks for sticking with me. So let's get started with our tutorial on how to use this tool here. So the first thing you need to do is have your effects library open. And we'll go to titles. And I'm just going to reduce this down a little bit so we can see the names properly. And then we're looking for our FD for Fuzzee D, 3D text slide with background pro. And we'll just drag that over top of our video. And we'll just move it along the line here. And now it defaults of course to 5 seconds, but we're going to make it a little longer here. So if we go over on the right here to our inspector, and if you don't have that available, when you click on this title, you can just go up here and click on inspector and that'll open it up. So it's divided up into our text top line and our text bottom line, and then the rest of the items one by one. Now it looks pretty complicated, but it's actually pretty easy. So let's just go through it. So up here is where we can change our text. So type in something new. And while I'm thinking about it, I just want to, if you haven't watched the demo on this yet, I'll just give you a quick feel of what this does. So as you can see, we're dealing with nice 3D text. So when it starts, there's nothing on screen. And then the text slides into position, slowly spreads apart, and you'll see there's a highlight that plays across it. So you can see the shininess of the letters, and then it goes away at the end. And you can change this to any length you want within reason. You have to keep it to at least, I think, 3 seconds or something like that. It's been a while since I actually built this. So 5 seconds is your minimum time with this. So let's just play it once, nice and smooth. We'll just have to wait for it to finish rendering. So we're just waiting for that little red line to turn all blue. Alright, it's done rendering. So we'll just take a look here. Pretty decent effect. And just note that when you stretch it out longer, it slows down that highlight that goes across the text. So we'll just watch that again real quick. Oh, sorry. We gotta let it render. while we're waiting for it to render, when you download this tool, there will be actually included a sound effects file. So we'll just go take a quick look at that. So the file that you're looking for is the FD 3D text slide with background pro SFX for sound effects. And you slide that in there, and if it's not the default length that you've made the effect, we just go down to the sound file and we cut it, and then we just drag this to the other end and make sure that your snapping tool is on. So this little button here, make sure it's lit up, and then it'll snap into place on the end. And we'll just let it finish rendering. Okay, it's done rendering. Sorry for all the waiting for rendering, but my computer is a little old, so it's a little slow with this. So now if we play it with the sound effects, and you'll see that that light plays across the text a little slower now. Okay, so we'll go back to how to make your adjustments here. And one thing I recommend when you're playing with this is make sure that you've got it right near the end, just before the text starts to slide back out. That way it's at its full width, because if you're changing sizes and stuff like that, that's going to cause you an issue if you set your text too big and then you go to play it and it'll stick out past the ends. So then we can go in here and we can change our font. And then increase our size. And if you need to increase your size a little slower, you hold your command key down as you're scrolling in the box. Then it happens at a slower rate. And sometimes if the text is a little too tall, you're not going to be able to get the size quite up there. Now I did put in an adjustment so that you can move the text up and down a little bit, but you are limited to how far it'll go down before it starts cutting off because of how this is built. So it is a pretty cool effect, but there are some limitations with it. And the effect does look nicer when you're using a heavier text. So another font I like to use is Arial Black. It's one that comes with most systems, whether it be Windows or Mac. Now we got a little more room to play with here. And then we can make our adjustment here to get it where we want it. And then we've got access to change our color. So if you wanted to make these shiny red letters, you can do that. It still keeps that nice metallic look. And we've got some other controls here. We can change our extrusion style from classic to custom. And then if you want to change the look of that, you can do that. can see how that looks just a little bit different. So you've got a pretty high level of control, and we can change our extrusion depth. So if you want to make them a little less thick, you can do that. Or if you want to make them really thick, you can do that too. And if you want to go beyond what the slider will do, you can just click in the box there and manually change the number. So if we made that to say 0.3, you can see the effect that has. We can also change our border width. And then if you want to go back to the defaults, you just hit this little dot that lights up, and that'll take it back to where it started from. Now I did put in subdivisions, so if you want to make the letters look smoother or more blocky, you can do that as well. Some systems it doesn't seem to have much effect, but other ones it does, depending on what you've got for a video card and stuff. So, and you've got the same level of control on the text bottom line with all the same controls here for adjustments. Now our background box, you've got full control or the four-way gradient. So that's one of the things that makes it look a little more complicated. So if we wanted to change it from being a blue background like that, we could say go with shades of red. Sorry for the screen blackouts here. It's not a problem with the tool, it's just my computer. So if we wanted to go from, say, kind of an orangey color to a red, and then we can do the same here, but we could maybe have it a darker orange down here. It's already kind of set to that. And then the last one we can just leave black. So we get a nice angled graduation of color from one corner down to the next, but you can set that up any way you like. Now I also left control for your alpha on all of these colors, so if you want to make these partially see-through, you can do that. And that makes for kind of a neat effect. But I'm going to put those back because I added another way for you to do this that's a little easier. Now the reason I left this method in is because sometimes when you're doing gradients you might want to have it go from a partially transparent color on one end to solid color on the other. And that allows you to do this. Now if you wanted to make that background box completely disappear and not have it in your title at all, just go right down to the very bottom and you've got a background opacity, and that's your master opacity level. So you can back it all off at once a little bit or make it completely disappear. And sometimes that's that's all you want. Sometimes you don't want that background. So now the other thing I gave you control over is your light colors. So we can actually change the color of the light. So you've got a spotlight that's over on the left side that lights it up from that angle. And then you've got a right spot that lights it from the right side over to the left. And then you've got your shifting highlight color. You can control that color as well. And there's even a rear spotlight. So if you see over here where the back part of this lettering is lit up, and like in here on the I and here on the N, if you were to take that light intensity and drop it down, you can see how the back plane of those letters darkens right up. You see in here and in here. So if we put that back to the default, you see how that brightens it all up. So you can change those light colors as well. So if you want to just give a different kind of an effect in there, we could say we want to make it look like bright sunlight. We could go to like a bright yellow color, or you could even go with a kind of a pinkish hue to match the clouds that are in the background up here, kind of give that lighting effect on the back side of the letters. And you could even do that if on your shifting color as well, if you wanted to pick that similar kind of a pink color. So then if we kind of scrub through, you can see that it kind of changes the character of that highlight. So if we go back here and change it to straight white, you can see how that changes that area right in here. So as we darken that pink color, you can see how it darkens that lighting effect just on that highlight spot, but leaves the rest alone. So let's quickly talk about your animation. So I did leave keyframes open, but keep in mind that because of the method I had to use to allow this to stretch to different lengths of time, if you go to animate anything, you can only set an animation point near the beginning and another animation point near the end. You can't really do anything in between because it'll just ignore anything that you try and set in the middle because of the keyframe stretcher. So that's just something to be aware of, but I did leave it in there because there are instances where you might want to make some changes in there. But I'll leave that for you to play with. This tutorial is getting a little longer than I would have liked. So please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss videos, and make sure to hit that notification bell so you make sure to catch every single one. So thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope you come back soon. Bye for now.